We tell ourselves the story, we play the only part we've ever known, and then that part becomes our own and we don't know how to separate it.
You need to have a belief supplement. You need a daily belief supplement.
Certainty is the enemy of change.
Rise and shine!
It's Entspresso time!
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I am not a morning person, but if you start your day with a morning routine that inspires you, like watching one of these videos, it will change your life. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you, and get ready for a shot of Entspresso from Marisa Peer.
I wake up every morning. Espresso keep me going. I wake up every morning.
We tell ourselves the story, we play the only part we've ever known, and then that part becomes our own and we don't know how to separate it. And so people come in with their story and they go, well, you know, I was a newborn baby and my mum told me that I was only like 2 pounds. I nearly died. They had to drop milk in me with a dropper. And I remember my mum telling me she used to cry every time I got weighed, or if she fed me when I threw up, they would get so upset because I could die. Like, okay. And now you're 600 pounds because you keep telling yourself that story. And people tell themselves the story until it validates why, you know, my dad didn't love me. He left before I was born. He never came to see me. But he had another kid that he treated like Jesus, bought him everything, Game Boys, clothes. So if my dad didn't love me, I'm not lovable. And you have to go, but that was then. Your dad was an idiot. That has nothing to do with whether you can find love or not. But clients tell themselves this story and they don't understand that at any age you can go, well, I think it's time for a new story. And so my job is to first of all find out where, you know, they come in and go, I don't know why I do this. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm just messed up. I don't know why I can't speak. I've always been that way. I go, nope. No baby looks away when you look at them in the hospital. No baby goes, don't look at me. I'm having a bad hair day. We're all born with so much confidence. You have 4 children. They never go, no, I can't get a banana in my mouth. I can't get to grips with this walking, reaching. They're wired to go for something. But a lot of damage is done very early. And I see that all the time. Really silly things like people come in and go, you know, I can't ask for money. And then our TT has what I call interruptions, where after they've gone back, they have to then say, but that's not me because, and that can't be me because, and that won't be me ever again. And what that does is it starts to change the neurons. It's actually called neuroplasticity. It starts to change the way the brain is wired. They stop thinking the way they thought as a child and put into place different beliefs, and then they're forever changed. And it's amazing to see it in action.
You have to stop telling yourself that you suck. This is the default mode that people live in, that you live in, is you're telling yourself that you suck. You get an idea, you want to do something, you've got an inspired idea to go change the world in some way, and then your head takes over and says all the reasons why you can't do it. And then you try to create something, a little moment of inspiration, and you try, you make your first video, you make your first sales call, you start pitching your idea, and then it doesn't work out. And then what's the self-talk back in the mirror? Like, when you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you say? When you're just by yourself, when there's nobody around you, what do you say when you look at yourself in the mirror? And too often it's that you suck. You can't do this. And the distinction we need to make is that you just don't have the skill set yet. You suck at something doesn't mean that you suck as a human. When you fail, it just means you don't have the skill set yet. You got to get better. You got to practice. You got to train. Why did you think that you would be so great out of the gate? You're going to make mistakes. That's okay. How do you get better? By practicing. By having 10,000 videos on a channel, right? Practicing. People quit on YouTube after 3 videos, after 1 video. Like, how about you try for 100 before you start to judge yourself? It took me 350 videos public before I wasn't completely embarrassed by my videos. But I didn't look at my videos and say I suck as a human. It's like, man, I still suck at making videos. I'm still not good enough yet. I still can't get my message across. I still don't have the emotional commitment to my message. So many things that was wrong with my videos, but it never became, Evan Carmichael, you suck as a human being. It's like, okay, this is what's wrong, and I need to keep working on it to get better, to improve. I think most of you could get better than me super quick. I think your journey could be a lot faster than mine, from being shy and introverted. And you go back, awkward, go watch all my videos. Go back to when I first started my channel, 2009, 2009, Nina? 2009, what year is it now? Yeah, 2009, April 2009. Man, go back and watch how bad those videos were as the journey. You could get there a lot faster. The only difference is you're starting something, not getting results, and feeling that you suck as a person, where I'm starting it and just recognize that I don't have the skills yet to keep going. So you could be great. I like to say you've got Michael Jordan level genius at something. But you gotta find it, you gotta own it, and you gotta use it to serve the world. That's why you're here, that's why you're watching these videos, that's what entrepreneurs do, the best entrepreneurs. It's what you do, you're trying to create value, you're trying to help, you're trying to serve. Your purpose comes from your pain, right? You wanna help all the people who currently are who you used to be. And you can do that. You can shift them, and your story can inspire them, but only if you start doing something. So what are the hacks? What are some of the ways to actually make that shift, to stop believing your story, to stop living in the same cycle, in the same loop, in a downward path of feeling like it's hopeless, that it's never gonna happen for you? How do you get out of it? Well, one, you need to add the supplements to your life. And you know how you don't have enough vitamin D? You know how most people in North America don't get enough vitamin D, and you should take a vitamin D supplement? Well, most people don't get enough omega-3 fatty acids, and so you take a supplement. You need to have a belief supplement. You need a daily belief supplement. And maybe you get that from these videos, which is why I created the Entspresso series. Maybe you get it from something else, but it has to be daily. You have to have a daily belief supplement that you add to your life, because if it was already in your life, you wouldn't need a supplement, right? What's the idea of a supplement? You add it, you supplement it to your life because it's missing. Because for you to be the next you, for you to meet potential you, and to make it happen, and to be the Michael Jordan of the thing that you want to be great at, you don't have it yet. You've got the seeds inside you, but you don't have the belief. So you have to supplement with belief every day. Just like you should be taking your vitamin D supplement every day. we need a believe line of supplement for vitamin D. That'd be fun. You get your vitamin D and you get your belief all at once. You need to supplement with belief every day. It's got to be part of your daily routine. The second thing, though, I would say is pay attention to your words. You know, pay attention to the language you use. So the 3 triggers for me are scary, difficult, or hard. When I say those words, when I think those words, when I feel those words, when I write those words, it's a trigger for me to do, because that's my story. That's my old story. That is some bright sun. That is my old story, that I can't do it because it's scary. I can't do it because it's difficult. I can't do it because it's hard. And the identity shift that I have been making and am continuing to make is that Evan Carmichael does difficult things. Evan Carmichael does scary things. Evan Carmichael does hard things. And that identity shift has changed my entire life. That has me doing a lot of things that I would never have previously done, that are in service of my mission, and that make me feel a lot more confident in myself, love myself more, and have more belief. So think about your own triggers. Like, what are the words that you use? Think about your big goal, your big ambition. What do you want to accomplish? And then what's the language that you use for why you can't do it? What do you tell yourself? Like, be honest with yourself. If you're looking at yourself in the mirror, in fact, you can even go do it. Like, go to the mirror right now and say, hey, I want to accomplish this. Here's my goal. And then what does mirror you look back at you and say? Oh, you can't because that's too what? That's too what? What's the excuse? What's the story? What's the reason why you can't do it? And then that's your trigger. Those are your trigger words, that whenever you think, feel, or say those words, that means you have to do it. Just because. By having a trigger, what it does is it shortcuts your thinking. Because as soon as let's use mine of it's too difficult. As soon as I say that's difficult, and I let my head get in the game, I'm gonna find all the reasons why I can't do it to justify, right? It's difficult because of this and this and this and this and this, and then suddenly I don't do the thing because I'm too afraid, right? Because I've convinced myself that it's too difficult to do. Where if you flip it to say, oh, I just said, that's one of my trigger words, I just said difficult, I have to do it. Regardless, like brain, get out of the way, we're doing it. Because I said it's difficult. Just because. Even if it's not in service of your mission, even if it's just something outside of what you would normally do, the fact that you said difficult is no longer a good enough reason to start to train yourself that way. So what are your trigger words? If you have none yet and you haven't come up with anything, you can borrow mine. Scary, difficult, or hard are good ones to start with. To teach yourself that you do difficult things, I think is one of the greatest ways to improve your self-love, self-confidence, self-belief, just make you a stronger, happier, more impactful person, and start to see changes in your life as well as the ripple effect. Because if you start to do more difficult things, the people around you will start to believe in themselves too. As you start to take on your challenges, your goals, your obstacles, and you even show that you're afraid to do it. You show that you're scared to do it, and you still show up even though you're scared. I had an interview with Tony Robbins recently on the channel, on my main channel, which is tons of fun, and I was super scared going into it. Now, I've already had Tony on the channel. The first video got almost 2 million views. I've met Tony backstage at his events. He's invited me to private events. It's logically say, well, you've already done all these things. Why would you be afraid? I'm still afraid. And my sister messaged me this morning to say, what a great interview you did with Tony. I've been following his stuff for 20 years and I still learned something from your interview with him. And I said, thank you. I was super scared to do it. And I'm gonna have to watch it back because I was so nervous during it that I don't know that I fully absorbed everything that he was saying. So I gotta watch it back to just be a consumer and not be worried about being the interviewer at the same time. And it's showing that you're afraid and then still showing up. It's not trying to be superhuman. You're not trying to be superwoman, Superman, and pretend like you've got it all figured out and you know what you're doing. People don't actually learn from that. It's showing that you're afraid, showing that you're nervous, showing that you're scared, showing that it's difficult, showing your emotional response that I don't know how this is gonna work out, I'm super afraid to do this, and then showing that you're still gonna show up. Whether it works out or not, that you still showed up. That's the best inspiration to yourself, and that's the best inspiration you can give to other people. So if you wanna avoid the story of the past, you want to avoid the messages that you've been constantly telling yourself. You want to switch the conversation from when you look at yourself in the mirror to being one of negative to self-hate, self-loathing, self-depression into one of self-love, self-confidence, self-belief. Pay attention to your triggers. Pay attention to the words that you use constantly to put yourself down. And then anytime those come up, like find your top 3. Don't worry about making an extensive list. You might be able to come up with a million different words you use for yourself to put yourself down. Find the default 3. Whenever you get a new idea, what are the default 3 that you come up with, the most common ones? And then write them down. And then anytime you see those, think those, say those. That's your trigger to go, to move, to act, to step into the new version of you so that when you get to the end of your life, you can see that you hit your potential instead of playing scared. Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. When you just watch a video and you get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of following through. But when you get motivated and create a plan of action, you bump it from 35% to 91% chance of following through. And when you share it with other people, like in this community in the comments below, it jumps to 95%. I want you to follow through. So question of the day, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and what is your plan of action for the next week? Let me know, put it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you. Also, if you want to have more self-belief and self-confidence, I've created a special free training where every day for the next 254 days, I will send you an unlisted video that will inspire you. The science says it takes up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a habit. So if you want to join in, get more self-belief and self-confidence for free every day, there's a link to join in the description below. I'll see you there.
Successful people do what they hate to get to where they want to be. Doesn't matter how talented you are, if you don't have self-belief, you're not going to get anywhere.
Certainty is the enemy of change. Meaning that most people are capable of more than what they are and what they do, but they don't always know it. And that strength model, that resiliency model accompanies me a lot. So when you can always be right, but it's not difficult to be right and alone. That's what happens in many relationships. You stick to your thing and you think you're right, but you're right and alone. The second thing that is really fundamental for me in thinking about relationships is that it is not the content that matters nearly as much as the form. Do you understand that? Meaning, yesterday in that beautiful conversation we had at night, you could have thought that it was about this story versus that story, when in fact it was about what was underlying and what was the form that was underlying. What are the three main hidden issues that exist below a lot of relationship dynamics and relationship conflict? Is either about power and control, either about closeness and care, either about respect and recognition. It didn't matter what the stories were that people were telling. What matters is that each one wanted their story to be recognized and each one wanted the other one to do it first. Form is what, if you have a certain pattern, a certain model, you will find that you can talk about green peas in South Korea or the next investment you're going to make, and the tone will be the same. Get off the subject and watch what you're doing. And use these three hidden dimensions to see where is the problem.
If you want another awesome Marisa Peer video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The mind listens to everything you say. The mind is always switched on, and it records everything, and it never forgets.
One of our biggest limiting beliefs is